Hi everyone, we're here today to learn about some fun science right here from my living room. Now today we're going to be learning about something called variables. Variables, there you go. Variables are things that you can change in a scientific experiment to see what effect they have on the outcome. Today I'm going to present you with some different activities that you can do in the house, and what you can do after that is change some of the variables to see the outcome on the particular experiment that you are doing. Right, the first experiment that we are going to do is we are going to see what happens when we get this plate of water, this plate of milk, we'll use water later, this plate of milk, okay, like this. So what you do is you get some milk and you pour the milk onto the plate like this. Now, once you have poured the milk onto the plate, you will then get your washing up liquid and your cotton bud, and you will put them to one side because you'll use them later. Then what I want you to do is to sprinkle or grind some pepper onto the plate of milk like this. Cover it the best you can. Like that. Okay. Once it is completely covered, this is the next part of the experiment. Okay. You're going to get a cotton bud and you're going to get some washing up liquid. Now you put a little bit of washing up liquid onto the cotton bud. Like this. Oh, careful not to spill some. I spilled some there, doesn't matter. Okay. Then what you do with the cotton bud and the milk, okay, is you put it into the milk like that. Did you see what happened then? All of the black pepper spread out to the sides. Why did it happen, you think? I wonder if you could find out. I wonder if the same outcome of this experiment works by changing some of the variables. What variables do you think you could change in this experiment to see what the outcome is to the effect that the washing up liquid has on moving the pepper? Could you change the temperature of the milk? Could you change the type of milk? Maybe semi-skimmed milk, whole milk, skimmed milk. It's up to you. The next activity that we're going to do is you're going to again use a plate, okay, and you're going to add some milk to that plate. So let's just pour some milk into the plate like this, nice and carefully. Don't want to spill it on the floor and annoy your mum and dad. Okay, put our milk back over there. We're going to use again the cotton bud and the washing up liquid. We're going to see what happens to something else that we put into the milk. We're going to add some food colouring. Okay, so I'll add here a drop of food colouring. Okay, I'm also going to add another drop of food colouring here, blue one, and I'm also going to add yellow one as well. Now, as you saw with the black pepper seemed to separate out over the surface of the milk. Let's see what happens when we do the same with these food dyes. I'm going to start with a new cotton bud now. I'm going to add some washing up liquid to them. Now let's have a look what happens when we put the cotton bud with the washing up liquid in the middle of the food dye and the milk. Oh, wow, very interesting. Still seems to be moving. Okay, wow, that's completely separated the blue dye all over the surface of the milk, and I didn't even move it, I just put it on top of the milk. Let's see what happens if I put it in the red one over here. Okay. Wow, again, that's moving and separating out. Okay. Look at the patterns that it's making. Why is that happening? Okay, we have the yellow one as well. And again, it starts to move and spread out. If this is not a science experiment, it's a great art activity to do at home. So, with this, boys and girls, what variables could you change to see the effect that the washing up liquid has on the food dye and the milk? What could you change? Could you also find out as well why this happens? It's a similar reason, boys and girls, to why we're washing our hands so much at the moment. It's something that happens with the soap. Okay, I'd like you to find that out. Why, on the top of the milk, do the objects or the materials that we put on the top of the milk, why do they spread out so far away from the source of the soap so quickly? What is it about the soap that makes that happen? We're all washing our hands so much at the moment to protect ourselves. It's a similar science in the experiment that I've just shown you. Next, we're going to do an experiment called chromatography. And in this experiment, we can have a look at our food dye that we've been using in a bit more detail. What you need, first of all, like I showed you before, is a glass, a clear glass. You then need to get tissue, or a serviette or something like this, an absorbent paper. That's the main thing, it has to be absorbent, okay? Now what you can do is investigate to see what colours the food dye is made from. This one looks just like it's red, but if you're very careful, you can actually see by using this technique what colours are inside the red food dye. You first of all will get a bit of food dye on it like this. Now, okay, what you then do is you put it in the glass like this, okay? Now, what you need to do then is add some water up till about halfway of the food dye and the piece of paper. Now, if you look carefully, what you will see is the food dye is actually moving up the paper as the water is being absorbed by the paper. It continues to move up. As it moves up, if you take a very, very close look, you can actually see different colours emerging from the food dye. Okay? I can actually see some purple in there. From here I can see bits of yellow, pink. It once was this very, very red dye, but as it moves up the paper using this method called chromatography, you can see the different colours separate out. I would like you to try this at home with some of your felt tip pens. I know lots of you have got felt tip pens. Instead of using food dye, do some lines with a felt tip pen or a dot. Put it in water with some absorbent paper like this and see what happens. The result will be very, very interesting indeed. And if you look really closely, you can see lots of different colours contained within the colour that you put at the bottom. Which colours do you think will separate out into more colours? Or do you think they will stay the same but go a different shade? You investigate and you decide.